Welcome to the Challenge Cult Selection Top 10. Starting now and continuing this evening, we'll bring you the most popular game shows in Britain, as voted by you, the Challenge viewers. So to start, I'll name that tune in 10. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom O'Connor!
Well, I had been a school teacher. I'd just turned pro because I was working in the clubs as a comic and after-dinner speaker, and then I won Opportunity Knocks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom O'Connor!
And whilst I was winning it 3 weeks running, Bernard Delfont and co were up in the control box saying, "Who's this fella?" And they said, "Well, he's a comedian, he doesn't tell any blue jokes, he used to teach maths and music." And he said, "I've got a game show that involves music and has to have a mathematical brain. He's the man." I hosted Name That Tune from 76 to 83. It started its life in the middle of a big production called London Night Out, when it only ran for a quarter of an hour, but the last 5 years it was a half-hour stand-up on its own. It was a very strong show. And we were never less than 6 in the ratings in all the times we ever did that. The secret of Name That Tune is that you don't need a cap and gown to play it. Everybody knows tunes, and we can all play. Yes, there were older members of the public on Name That Tune, more so obviously than there are today, and that of course guided what kind of music we could play as well. The Beatles were virtually pop, if you like, and then we went back towards Handel's Messiah, and I think that today the problem would be, because we want more youth on the show, we never got young people applying. That was the whole problem in those days. People wouldn't apply. Those that did were all over 30. Looked fine to me, the show worked. But today, because there's such a vast raft of music that's happened since the 70s, you would have to have at least, I think, 2 people in each team. You'd have to have a younger and an older, just to get all the swell of music in. We didn't give exorbitant prizes away. I mean, subsequently we ended up giving away a car, but up to that it was never more than £1,000. So it was a fun show, family show. I had been a fan all my life of the old Ted Heath big band, and I followed them everywhere. I paid fortunes. All my university fees and everything were paid to watch this band. And I walked into the studio and it was his band. He died, but I had Don Lusher on trombone, my hero. And I went straight over and said, "Can I have your autograph, Mr. Lusher?" And he said, "You're the star of the show." I said, "Yeah, but I've never been this near to you, you know." And they were wonderful musicians. But here's something, if they're watching now, that even they'll have to agree to. They didn't know any of the answers. Because musicians don't know tunes, they just play them. And they don't buy a sheet copy from the shop that says, you know, Evening in Paris. They get a piece of music written out with a number on it, 67, and they go, "Play 67, and they play it. One day we played Name That Tune with the band, and they couldn't name anything they were playing. Isn't that amazing? Now, Marion's bringing on 2 envelopes. This one contains a sheet of piano music, which Marion's going to take round to Ronnie. The title of that piece has been blacked out, Mabel, so he doesn't know what he's going to play until he actually gets onto the piano there. It could be an old tune, a new tune, a popular tune, a classic. I had to say this. Name that tune.
For £50, name that tune.
Now, the reason I had to say that was not drama, it was so the band leader could count the band in. Because as I was saying, name that tune, he was going 2, 3, 4. And the band came in right on the dot. As I stuck my finger out, bing, first note. The thing that hurts me today when I watch game shows, we were drilled never to walk away from a loser. Today, that's the essence of the show. Making you look at an idiot, and we'll analyse why you were an idiot when you've gone and all that business. And it was never that. It was always a fun time. It would certainly hold today. Maybe people thought, well, it's been a long run, why don't we rest it for a while and bring it back? They never have. But I think it's a goer. And I was sorry to see it go. I'd love to have carried on hosting it, really, and if it's coming back, I'll have it.
In 9th place on the Challenge Cult Selection, Christmas as It Used to Be. He seemed like such a nice boy, and she's a very nice girl. Shut that door and enjoy the Generation Game.
Shut that door.
After the abdication of King Bruce and Queen Anthea, and before the long dark days of Jim Davidson, BBC executives did something very brave. They took a risk on a 55-year-old veteran of Northern drag shows and a bonny wee lassie.
Sinclair.
Well, I was presenting a series in Scotland, and it was called Birthday Honours. And it so happened that the then director of the Generation Game happened to be in Edinburgh visiting his sick father. And he saw me on this programme presenting it and thought to himself, this girl could be an ideal foil for Larry Grayson. I went for this interview on the 6th floor of the BBC, and it was so hot with all the glass, and I was wearing a big woolly jumper, and I didn't want to take my jumper off in case it would be, you know, I just was so nervous about everything. I didn't want to make any fuss, but they spoke to me and we chatted about anything. Making scones, I think, and I thought, well, this is very strange, because I could see a whole pile of pictures of buxom blondes sitting on their table, and I thought, well, what am I doing here? I went away out, phoned up the agent, the London agent, said, I really don't think I'm going to get this, you know, and I went away back to Scotland, to Troon, where I was living there. 3 days later they phoned and said I'd got it.
And Isla, could we have the scores on the doors, please?
Jean and John have 14 points, Pam and Gary have 11 points.
We kind of complemented each other very well. My personality would be a very good foil for his personality.
My very best wishes to Larry and Isla, a wee Scottish lassie and boy. What a smiler.
Boy.
This card...
He was very together in many ways, off screen, but as I say, a bit shambolic on screen, but that was what was so adorable, and that was the vulnerable quality about him.
And, Jean, you're with 45 seconds starting now to make a wand, or a star, handle. And now we have the belly dancers. And so, Isla, what have we for...
It's a portable television, a crystal sherry decanter and a set of glasses, and of course the Generation Game doors.
But it was politically a very good choice too. Larry was paving the way for that sort of camp comedy to come into a family audience.
I'm going to touch you both on the back, and as soon as I do that, if you can open your mouth, can you do that?
Not off.
Yes.
He had this wonderful stock of phrases.
Seems like a nice boy.
And it's the looks combined with the little sayings that he'd gathered, you know, from going around all the old boarding houses.
My friend Everard never comes out. Except on the 12th. With the grouse shooting, then he just has a grouse and goes back in.
I went on to do quite a lot for children, and I was making my own series, The Song and the Story, which was taking traditional music and acting out the various parts and presenting, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And then I went on and did Sound of Music. I was Maria. And it was wonderful. It was great fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And basically then retired to have my family, my children, who are now getting to be bigger than me, both of them. And certainly one of them a lot bigger than me, and spent a lot of time doing that, but continuing and very much back to my own roots, which I'd been missing in some measure. But now I managed to combine my roots, which is traditional singing, and I've got a small production company that's making documentaries and all kinds of things. That's lots and lots of different strands. Never a dull moment.